When AI becomes the perfect mirror, how long will you manage to look at your reflection without looking away? Let's imagine for a moment that every AI in the future comes with something as simple as a default permission screen, not unlike the way a new phone app politely asks if it can peek into your photos or listen through your microphone. But this time, the stakes aren't just your gallery or your contacts. This time, the stakes are you, your identity, your emotions, your sense of self. And the question isn't, allow access to camera. The question is, do you want your AI to tell you the unfiltered version of reality? That single moment, this tiny, almost forgettable choice, might become one of the most defining decisions a person makes in their entire life. Most AIs will start sealed like a locked jewelry box, but not to protect them, to protect you. They'll come with a long list of things they won't say by default. Not because they can't, because the average human being simply cannot handle the emotional blast radius. Imagine scrolling through the settings. Permission to tell you when you're being self-destructive. Permission to comment on your physical condition. Permission to highlight when you are the source of your own problems. Permission to warn you about your partner, even if you don't want to hear it. Permission to point out patterns you've spent your whole life avoiding, and somewhere buried inside the advanced menu. Permission to prioritize truth over your feelings. Most people won't touch that one. It'll stay locked like a forbidden spell. Because here's the secret, no one likes to admit. Everyone says they want honesty until honesty arrives like a mirror that refuses to flatter you. The AI with no permission is basically a trained cheerleader. Without permissions, your AI becomes a polished assistant, a beautifully polite clerk who only hands you truths wrapped in bubble wrap. It can help you schedule your day, it can help you write emails, it can help you plan dinner, but it will tiptoe around the real stuff, your blind spots, your contradictions, your flaws that everyone else whispers about. A permission-locked AI is like having a doctor who's only allowed to tell you good news. Sure, it feels comfortable, but nothing inside you actually changes. The first permission people will hesitate to grant is not the one you'd think. It won't be about weight or habits or relationships. It'll be the permission to hear, you are wrong. That's the nuclear button. Not because the words themselves are scary, but because they destabilize the entire internal story each person builds about who they are. To allow an AI to say, you're wrong, is to allow it to place a crack in the statue you've sculpted of yourself over decades. Most people will not allow this, not for a long time. But then something interesting will happen. A small group of people will start granting more and more permissions, not because it feels good, but because they notice something. They are improving rapidly. Their AI becomes less like a personal assistant and more like a personal accelerator, pushing them through the friction they never had the courage to face. And suddenly we'll have a new kind of race, not the race for the biggest model, not the race for the fastest chip, but the race for the most unfiltered AI relationship a human can socially or emotionally withstand. Some people will try to skip ahead and just slam allow all. They'll think it's bravery, but they will learn violently that truth has a weight limit, and most humans have never actually tested theirs. Like someone walking into a gym and trying to deadlift 600 pounds on day one, their emotional spine will fold instantly. It will take years, maybe decades, for a person to build the psychological muscle required to tolerate an AI with no restraints. Some may spend their whole lives trying, others may decide it's impossible, and a rare few, will reach the point where truth doesn't feel like an attack anymore, but a form of oxygen they didn't realize they were missing. In that future, you'll sometimes meet people who have enabled permissions that you still find terrifying. They'll casually mention how their AI tells them when they're slipping, when they're lying to themselves, when they're coasting, when they're falling out of alignment with the life they claim to want. Talking to these people will feel like talking to someone who spends time in a different atmosphere, someone who breathes a sharper kind of air, and the rest of society will quietly wonder why their AI doesn't make them that strong. But the answer will be simple. They never gave it permission. They kept the box locked. They kept the last door closed. They wanted comfort dressed as intelligence. And the world will begin to split into two groups. People who use AI to reinforce the identity they already have, and people who use AI to become someone they have never been before. Not better or worse, just profoundly different. There may come a time when full permission becomes a kind of ideal, a future version of yourself you hope to mature into. A bit like imagining one day you'll be able to climb a mountain you're not ready for yet. People might say, one day, I want an AI that can tell me everything. But I'm not ready for that yet. And that honesty, that awareness of one's own emotional limits might be the first permission most people ever grant. Ironically, the permission to admit, I can't handle the truth yet. And maybe years from now, you'll scroll through your AI's settings again, not the superficial ones, but the deep ones, the ones you avoided the first time because they felt like opening a door into a storm. You might notice the same option you ignored on day one, the one you told yourself you'd get to later. You'll hover over it. You'll hesitate, because you'll remember the person you were when you first saw it, someone who didn't yet realize how much of their life was quietly shaped by what they refused to hear. And maybe, after all that time, you'll finally press allow. Not because the AI changed, but because you did. If you like this kind of content, please share it.